Yes.
Hi,
Hello.
Jim. Hey, Jim.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. I meant to text you last night just to make sure that you knew what time we were going, but I guess I got caught up looking at my phone.
What it was feeding you, huh?
Yeah. Yes. How you doing?
I am well. I caught the exchange of messages last night that indicated our starting time for today, so I'm ready.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Good. Are you
I'm recording.
okay?
Oh, the
How come
timer.
you didn't put the clock out?
I get it.
That's on you, buddy.
Well, we were just talking. I was just right before Dad walked in. I was looking at reports that the Smashing Machine only made $6 million at opening.
Is that
box.
all?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
That I am absolutely shocked. $6 million for it's got to be an. I don't think that we know exactly how much it costs, but I mean that's The Rock.
I was going to say,
Rock-
what did his last movie open at?
Yeah,
Well,
check.
I think his last movie or two were like Amazon movies. Like,
Oh, were they?
Yeah, I don't think they were.
What did Jungle Cruise open at?
Let me
Do
look
you know
at.
the
Let me
Disney
look at his
movie?
last like big. A lot of his
Yeah.
movies too are like the Fast and the Furious movies.
Mhm.
Well, that's kind of not Ving Rhames.
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel. I mean, yeah. I mean that's kind of with him too.
Yeah.
Can't just.
Yeah, well, those movies are just huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're standalone franchise
I mean,
material
he did
there.
Moana 2. I don't know if that one really counts. I guess maybe Black Adam would have been the last kind of like
Mhm.
that was his venture into the superhero world.
Okay. Yeah, 6 million. Because I
But again, that's
saw some.
that's a superhero movie, and so that ended up making about $400 million.
How many theaters was it released in?
I don't know.
$6 million is,
I know about kittens. I saw advertising for it, so they obviously are,
Smash Machine was
promoting it.
released in 3,345 theaters during its
What a-
opening weekend in October.
That's a pretty miserable per screen average.
that's American box office, correct?
Yeah.
Overseas? Does it say? It
I-
doesn't say. It'll probably do a lot more business overseas, but that is just the thing about and I was actually going to see it this weekend. Thought that Caitlin and I have been talking about movies and the fact that there's a lot of movies that are we talk about old movies and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I decided I would see one battle after another this weekend, and then what I was going to do is I was going to see that, and then I was going to go see the Rock's movie and what machine? The bashing machine? Smashing machine. And I just figured that that was just a shoo-in. I just thought for sure that movie, I guess it just shows you what the movie business is all about, but it just seems that, speaking of that, because I think of him as a movie star, okay? And he's just a movie star. But there seems to be less and less movie stars these days. And I was wondering, Jim, and especially you, Caitlin, if you could name people, actors and actresses, that are between the ages of 30 and 50 that are movie stars.
Well, I mean,
Other than Leonardo.
yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of who might be coming up as movie stars. So, my first thought is who would be the next movie, like Timothy Chalamet, probably.
Okay.
Okay.
But maybe I'm thinking of it wrong. I don't even know how old.
Where
he
would
is.
you put Ryan Gosling in that category?
He's older than 50.
Is he older than 50?
I think so.
And Chalamet's 29. Gosling is 44.
Oh, he's only 44?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Good call, Jim. Good call. All right, so we've got one. This is my point being that if you had asked Jim and I back in the 70s who's the movie stars, we said we would have gone like, Meryl Streep,
De Niro,
Pacino,
Redford, maybe.
Dustin Hoffman, Denzel Washington. I mean, on and on and on.
Yeah.
It's just on.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Oh, and Tom Cruise still is. Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But I was looking for people that weren't, considered. Tim Robbins was a movie star, I think, at some point. And at some point, there are a lot of people that are my age that now.
Ryan Reynolds.
Okay, Ryan Reynolds. How old is he?
Chris Evans. I think all these guys. Ryan Reynolds is 48.
Okay.
Chris Evans is 44.
Okay, all right. I guess there's still.
How about Pratt? How about Chris Pratt?
Yeah, Chris Pratt. All the Chris's. Chris Pratt's 46.
Okay.
Chris, was it the Australian Thor?
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth.
I should have cut this off at 45. I should have said, name me actors between 30 and 45. Anyway, I was trying to make the point that it just doesn't seem to me that because of all the content that's out there and all the different places people are going for their entertainment, that there just aren't the same amount of movie stars as they used to be.
There might be kind of like almost a more mysterious factor that plays in back in the day before social media. None of these guys were doing a ton of interviews. Paul Newman, Jack Nicholson, they were kind of just doing their movies.
Yeah.
You didn't really know who they were outside of these movies. These days, you see every actor go out and do everything in this interview and that interview. So back then, there was more of a mystery to these movie stars.
But do you think it's more that or more the instead of like 20 movies a year being released or 30 movies a year being released, there's 3,000 movies being released a year.
Well, and on top of that, too, there's a bunch of movies getting released that are streaming that are they just feel kind of subpar. They just don't feel like they're big. I watched a big movie with the new Mark Wahlberg movie on Amazon.
Not the airplane movie.
No, I watched that one too.
How was it?
It's exactly what you think it is.
Yeah, okay.
Did you see the George Clooney movie, Wolves?
Yeah, I did, and I was kind of disappointed by that too.
Okay.
It was like it kind of ended, and I went, "What? Okay, all right." I think they were planning for it to be bigger, but let me look up the name of this movie, Mark Wahlberg. But yeah, it was with Mark Wahlberg, Lakeith Stanfield. It's called Play Dirty, and it's fine, it's okay, it's action, but it just didn't feel. It just didn't feel great. Like, ever since we've been having these conversations where I'm like, you should talk about newer movies. And you're like, well, the new movies aren't great. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe the new movies aren't that great.
Did you see One Battle After Another, Michael?
I did. And before.
I intend to see it tomorrow.
Okay. Well, I'd be interested in getting your take on it, Jim. Like I said, I was going to go see that. And then I was going to see the Rock movies, and I've decided that, I'm going to just try to stay a little bit more current. And we can always talk about older movies, and it's fun. And those are the movies that I really enjoy. But before I talk about One Battle After Another, I kind of just wanted to talk about Paul Thomas Anderson and the movies that he has done. And I think that, and even though this might not have been, I'm sure he did movies before There Will Be Blood, but There Will Be Blood was the first time I thought that I was introduced to his movies. And, I remember Daniel Day-Lewis and the kid I love so much, Paul Dano, and it's the first time I ever saw him. I remember seeing that movie, Jim, and, absolutely thinking like this. I just absolutely thought this was a great great movie, and it just really, really had me. And I was like, just like on a train, like, man, I love this movie. And then it ended. Do you remember that having kind of an odd ending, or an
I
ending
thought
that
it was kind of odd from beginning to end,
you
to tell
you
you the
did?
truth. I have loved certain of his movies. Boogie Nights had me from beginning to end.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a joyride. And I after I saw Boogie Nights, I saw his first movie, Hard Eight, which I thought was really good too. And Magnolia was, interesting. I saw it. I wouldn't see it again, you know. And There Will Be Blood. I have given that movie a couple of honest tries. People like it. I just can't really get into it for some reason, you know. But I'm
That's a
very much
movie
looking
that
forward to
like
seeing one.
that's a kind of movie where like the overall movie is kind of forgettable to me, but Daniel Day-Lewis's performance in it
Oh
is
yeah.
so good. I will just watch it just for his performance because
Oh
he's so
yeah.
great in that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
And maybe that's kind of what I was reacting to. I mean, I went back and I didn't watch There Will Be Blood because I remembered my feelings very strongly about it. And one of the things about his movies is that all of his movies that I went back and watched over the weekend and rewatched give actors like great material. I mean, you just like the actors in the movies are incredible. Now, the first movie, well, I watched another one first, but I talked to you a little bit, Jim and Caitlin, about and are you familiar with Magnolia?
I've only seen it one time. It was years ago, but I have seen it only the one time, and I remember liking it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been a while.
Well, what I wanted to say about it is that it's got a cast that includes Tom Cruise, Julianne Moore, Philip Seymour Hoffman, John C. Reilly, Jason Robards, Philip Baker Hall, William Macy, Alfred Molina, Louis Guzman, Melinda Dillon, and remember we were talking about Michael Biehn, Jim?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Bowen's in it. And so I went back to watch that after seeing One Battle After Another, and fucking Tom Cruise is like jaw-droppingly fucking excellent, amazing in that movie. It's just like I just thought like, and I think that the character's a little bit like who he is. I think he's a very kind of upfront, smiling, hey, like, I'm going to sell you on myself. I'm going to sell you on my movie. I'm going to sell you on how much I love life and Scientology or whatever he does,
Yeah.
But if somebody wants to see Tom Cruise really, really, really nail a movie, man, right from the very, very beginning, I just thought like, man, he was so good in the movie, and the movie looks great. It's got a great look to it, and those characters I kind of was invested in, and when with There Will Be Blood, I was invested in those characters. There's Tom Cruise I cared about, and Jason Robards, who's kind of playing a dying father. Actually, Tom Cruise is a dying father I cared about. William Macy is a character that. The more I watch and see William Macy, the more I see that he kind of is a lot of times playing a character like the one he did in Fargo, where he's
Yeah.
just like, not with it, frustrated,
Yeah,
wanting to get
he's
something done and having something in his way. But he's awfully good. Go ahead.
he plays a similar character in the David Mamet movie State and Maine about movie making, and it's very funny. Philip Seymour Hoffman is in that movie as well, and Macy plays the director. He's harassed and harried and doesn't know up from down through most of the movie, being pulled in all different directions.
What did Philip? I mean, how early? I think all of these movies, a lot of these movies were made in the late '90s, early 2000s. Philip Seymour Hoffman seemed very, very young in those movies, and then later I saw him. I watched a movie called The Master. Also,
yes.
This was much later in his career, but he looked very young, and I was wondering if it was because of Paul Thomas Anderson that he really started getting noticed, or if he had done much before that.
Well, I think the first thing I really kind of remember him from was maybe Scent of a Woman.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And Twister. He played.
Was Twister before all this Paul Thomas Anderson stuff?
Twister was the same year as Hard 8, so they probably came out right around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what was Scent of a Woman? What year was that?
That was 92.
92. Okay. He played one of the students who's trying to kick out Chris O'Donnell in the school that Chris O'Donnell comes from. And in the movie, remember, he takes a job driving Al Pacino around for a weekend. So and Philip Seymour Hoffman plays his adversary, and then at the end of the movie, Pacino goes back to that school and gives a speech defending Chris O'Donnell.
Right. What's that?
And he kind of puts
that Son of a
puts,
Woman?
That was Son of a Woman.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Marty Brest movie.
Right. Yeah.
One that Pacino won an Oscar for.
Well, I wanted to ask you: was Tom Cruise nominated for that role that he did, or he had to have been nominated for?
He may well have been for Magnolia.
And I'd be, yeah. I mean, I had,
he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor in 2000 for Magnolia.
For Magnolia,
Yeah.
was nominated. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it is. Except for what was the one he did, the Vietnam movie?
Born on the 4th of July.
Born on the 4th of July is another, like, really.
I think he was nominated for that one too, and I thought I thought there was a good chance he could win it that year.
He was nominated for Born on the 4th of July in 90, Jerry Maguire in 97, and then that was for Best Actor and then Best Supporting Actor for Magnolia.
Right.
He's never won an Academy Award. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's crazy. Well, you don't see, you talk about, the cast of Tombstone. It was so good, it had, Val Kilmer and Sam Elliott and, like Tom Cruise, Julianne Moore, Philip Seymour Hoffman,
Stephen,
John C. Reilly, Jason Robards, Philip Baker Hall, William Macy, Alfred Molina. So I decided, after seeing one battle after another, that I wanted to go back and watch his movies. The thing about Magnolia, I really, really, really liked Magnolia until the end. And in the last 15 minutes of what just seems to be an incredibly well shot, he seems to be really, steady cam. One shot leads to another person who walks off and has a conversation with another person, and they walk off and they go through another room, and the camera's following them the whole way. And I was like, oh yeah. No wonder why this movie. Now, did that movie make a lot of money? That movie Magnolia.
Magnolia made
Because I
Not
want
much. It was a $37 million budget, made 48.5.
Okay, so, and this is another thing that I kind of wanted. How about There Will Be Blood? This is another thing I kind of want to know about his career. Is like his movies don't seem like they're box office movies. They don't say. They seem like the ones the studios say, like, okay, we'll go make that movie, and we're going to get 3 or 4 Academy Awards out of them.
Yeah, so There Will Be Blood, a $25 million budget, made $76.2 million.
All right, so that was a pretty successful movie. The
But
thing
it
about
did, it was a kind of Academy Award. It was not, that one was nominated for everything. It was nominated for Best Picture, Best Directing. That's where Daniel Day-Lewis won Best Actor. So it was nominated for a lot. It was going up against No Country for Old Men that year.
Wow.
I think Boogie Nights is considered a box office hit.
Well, the thing about Boogie Nights is that
$43 million on a $15 million budget.
Yeah, 43 on a $15 million budget, Jim. The thing about Boogie Nights, and I can't help to think that it doesn't hurt to have a movie where there's a lot of naked women and a lot of fucking and sucking going on. I mean, just from a male.
Heather Graham lifting her shirt, her dress off. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work.
There's probably a lot of men who just thought that, it's about the porn industry. Okay,
Paul Thomas Anderson went through that Sundance director's training program.
He did too, huh?
Yes, he did. And he said that Redford had a collection of pornography, classic, old 1940s, 1950s, old porn, stag films, they used to call them. And in one of the films, a character was a girl who was always on roller skates.
Right. Yeah.
And that's where he got the roller girl concept from one of Robert Redford's old porno movies.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so listen, I'm loving the movie, and now I'm talking about Magnolia again.
Yeah.
So I'm back to Magnolia, and about 20 minutes, and it's all very serious, and then out of like nowhere, and maybe you can explain this to me, Jim, frogs start dropping out of the sky by the thousands, by the hundreds of thousands. There's just like the end of the world frogs. And like, can you get inside of Paul Thomas Anderson's head and say like, this is what he was trying?
No.
Well, this is what he was.
Head. That's a very unique head. I'm not sure I could. That's a biblical reference to one of the plagues.
Well, I understand that.
I don't know why he felt it was appropriate, at that particular moment. It does seem to kind of break the spell a little bit. Doesn't that movie open with a series of like urban legends? Like the guy who was apparently scuba diving in a lake, and a plane that was scooping up water to fight a forest fire picked him up and accidentally dropped him over the fire.
I don't remember seeing that one.
It does. It starts with kind of a collection of crazy urban legends. Like a guy was going to kill himself by throwing himself off a building, and on the way down, somebody else was going to kill himself by shooting himself in the head with a shotgun, and he missed. But the round hit the guy who was falling through the window. Those crazy things that you used to read about. And he starts with
it's actually a wife who was shooting her husband and missed her husband, and somebody who was committing suicide was jumping and hit him on the way down. And it turned out that he would have lived because there was a construction crew and there was a net there, and so they both get charged with murder. Yeah, you're right. That's kind of how it started. I mean, I think then I remembered like when I was a kid watching that movie, and like there are certain things that just like I can't fucking, I can't watch that. what year am I? You're like, where, like, what is going on? And, you know, for me, it's always about like just being able to understand it. If I can understand it, you know, it doesn't, and that one like really threw me. And then there's another.
I can give you the AI overview of what it's supposed to mean.
Okay. Well, I know what it,
like why it's in the movie.
Okay.
So the Reign of Frogs in the movie is a surreal metaphorical climax symbolizing the unpredictability of life and forcing the interconnected characters to confront their struggles and seek redemption, inspired by the writings of Charles Fort and possibly the biblical plague of frogs in Exodus 8:2. The event serves as a wake-up call and a literal manifestation of the film's emotional logic, rather than a realistic event leading to moments of unexpected grace and reconciliation.
Well, here's the thing is, what you described, the movie does. For me, it does that. It makes me feel that way without the frogs. But, you know, how many, you can look up Paul Thomas Anderson too and see like how many, he's got like 15 Academy Awards or 20. His movies have made like 20 Academy Awards or something like that.
What did you said you saw The Master?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that sort of based on the origins of Scientology?
Yes. Hold on.
He's got 9 nominations, no wins.
He has not won an Academy Award for Best Picture.
Nope.
Okay, I thought I saw on something my phone threw at me.
I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't pick one up this time around for One Battle After Another. I think that movie's going to touch a lot of.
It seemed like he was probably, if it wasn't going to be No Country for Old Men, it was going to be There Will Be Blood that year.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I went back and I watched a movie he did with Philip Seymour Hoffman and Joaquin Phoenix, and there's a very, very, very young Rami Malek.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Rami Malek, I thought was just like a kid. I mean, when he did, is it Freddie in from
Queen?
Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah.
Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where he came into me understanding when did they make Bohemian Rhapsody and when did they make The Master? That's got to be 10 years between those movies.
Bohemian
I would
Rhapsody
bet.
was
Yeah.
2018. The Master was 2012.
Okay, so it's only 6 years later.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I first saw Rami Malek in, they did the I'm forgetting the name of it. Oh, The Pacific. It was the follow-up to the World War II show they did on HBO.
Oh, yeah.
Where Band of Brothers, after Band of Brothers success, they went to the island, did the Pacific. He was in that one. That's where I first saw him.
And he was in that Denzel. He's in a recent Denzel movie, too. Kind of a cop player.
He got real famous from a show called Mr. Robot, where he played like a computer hacker alongside Christian Slater. First season was really good, but I think that's where he blew up.
Jennifer saw the new Denzel Spike Lee movie, and she was just like, "Ugh, I can't." What did you see it?
It was really bad.
Yeah.
What is it?
I mean, just like because Inside Man is one of my favorite heist movies.
That's
ever.
a very good movie.
I love Inside Man.
Isn't that's very clever, exciting,
so
throwing curves at you all the time.
Yeah, Clive Owen. It's Denzel and Spike Lee. So I was like, okay, Denzel, Spike Lee.
And Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster's in that too.
Christopher Plummer is in it. Yeah. It's got quite a cast.
I love that movie. And even it's called Highest to Lowest. Their newest one is released on Apple. And a couple of the scenes kind of felt a little similar to that, but like the acting in it was just like, I was like, how is this a Denzel movie? It was like, it was like soap opera acting. And the woman that plays Denzel's wife, you know, their kid gets kidnapped at one point and she's supposed to be like distraught that her kid gets kidnapped. And it's like, it's like laughably bad performances in it. And I was like, what movie am I watching? How can this be this movie? I really did not enjoy it.
Well, I was surprised, or not really surprised, but pleased that how kind of mainstream action suspense movie Inside Moves was coming from Spike Lee. You know, it was a Brian Grazer produced movie.
They're actually, if you
Imagine.
look back at it, there's not really any action in that
Not
movie.
not to speak of, no, but it was a very compelling suspense movie,
Yeah,
heist movie.
yeah.
Really clever and very mainstream, very commercial.
Well,
What do you call it?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's what it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Very commercial.
And yeah,
Willem
and Spike
Dafoe
and
is
Spike
in it.
directed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question, Caitlin. Can you look up Spike Lee? And the very first movie he did was his breakout movie with Danny Aiello, and what was that?
Well, he
Wasn't
did something called "She's Gotta Have It."
That was
But
his first movie. She's
that
got
was his
That was
movie.
technically
That,
his second movie. I'm seeing his first movie is called Joe's Bed Stewie Barbershop. We cut heads. I don't know what that
Okay,
is.
keep going.
But then She's Gotta Have It is after
and
that.
then what's that?
And then School Days, and then Do the Right Thing.
What's Do the Right Thing,
Uh,
Jim? What's that story?
that's the Danny Aiello story. The pizza shop guy.
Yeah.
He owns a pizza shop.
Yeah.
John Turturro plays his son.
yes,
And Spike Lee plays the guy who
Yes.
basically he delivers the pizzas.
yes.
And I
That's
think-
when that's when Spike Lee kind of came into my life. Now,
Yeah.
were that one of the movies that you mentioned earlier than that, Jim? Are you aware of the earlier movies, and were they kind of well-known hits or?
Well, he made a black and white movie called "She's Gotta Have It," and that got him a lot of attention.
was there anybody in that as far as like being
well,
kind
other
of
than him,
right?
um,
Okay, so he got a lot of attention for that, but he first came into my like this movie with Danny.
Do the Right Thing.
Do the Right Thing. Do the Right Thing is to me the movie that he made that made
It
it's a
definitely
Spike
is.
Lee joint, like that
Yes.
that was like the
Yes.
thing. Do the Right Thing, and Do the Right Thing. I can remember watching and thinking, oh, this is fun and gritty and racial and all this kind of stuff. Edgy, very, very edgy.
Yeah.
I don't know, to be, perfectly honest with you, that that after that, I know that he worked with Denzel on
Malcolm X.
what?
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X. I know he did Malcolm X, which was, goodish. But what is Spike Lee? It was 40 years ago when he made that movie, 30 years ago when he made Do the Right Thing. I mean, I know he makes great commercials and stuff like that, but has he ever done any movie since then that's been like a hit or something that people, I can't think, I don't know of his movies.
I don't really know his movies, especially his older stuff. Like I said, I loved Inside Man. He redid a very famous South Korean movie called Old Boy, which is very
With
well known.
who?
It's very he remade it with Josh Brolin, and
Okay.
that I don't think was very good. He got a lot of attention a few years ago for a movie that he made called Black Klansman.
Yeah.
That was big a couple years ago.
I saw that.
But, yeah,
That was pretty good.
He's
Yeah.
done a lot with Denzel. I thought Mo Better Blues was a pretty fun movie with Denzel and Wesley Snipes. Denzel plays a musician, leader of jazz combo or jazz band.
Okay.
And Spike plays his manager, and they made a movie called He Got Game, where Denzel's a prisoner and his son is like an incredible basketball prospect, and Denzel gets a chance to get out of prison if his son will commit to go play for a state school.
Right.
Are you familiar with that movie? It's pretty
I'm
good.
familiar now that you're telling me, but I don't think I've ever seen it. Maybe I haven't seen enough of his movies to realize that he's made some good ones over the years.
He made a very interesting movie that I watched a few years ago. It was the screenplay was by David Benioff, who did Game of Thrones, and so I was really into Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And it's called 25th Hour with Edward Norton, and Philip Seymour Hoffman is in it. Rosario Dawson is in it, and it's about like a guy. He's going to prison, and it's about like the 24 hours before he goes to prison. And that movie I remember really enjoying a lot.
That one's not bad. Yeah. And Jungle Fever, do you remember that one with Wesley Snipes and Annabella Sciorra?
I didn't see that one.
Samuel Jackson plays Wesley Snipes. It's a small part, but he plays Wesley Snipes' crack addicted brother, and he really stands out in that movie. That was made in 1991.
So going back to
Master.
The Master, I just have to say, I've never seen. Well, I was going to say Philip Seymour Hoffman and Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix is fucking just phenomenal in that movie. He is so like stand out. If like there's ever been a performance where you can go like, well, I found him more interesting than Philip Seymour Hoffman. And Philip Seymour Hoffman plays the head of what is a Scientology-like thing. And I'm not sure if the movie, for me, I don't really, if you didn't know it was about Scientology, it's kind of like, and I don't even know if it's based on Scientology, but
it's based on the founder, that L. Ron Hubbard guy. I think that's the character that he's supposed to be playing.
Well, and of course he's very good, but I just found Joaquin Phoenix to just be like, just absolutely stunningly good. And there's something about, I guess when L. Ron Hubbard would have been a young man, Jim, would that have been the 50s?
Yes.
Yeah, and there's something about those guys back in the 40s and 50s, and like my dad and people, they were just kind of like different. There was just something. The
greatest generation.
It's the greatest generation, and they were just, a lot of those guys, including Joaquin Phoenix's character, had just come back from World War II,
right,
and had like gotten medals and stuff, but he, couldn't fit in, and ends up crossing paths with Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, who runs this, we'll just call it Scientology, the beginnings of Scientology. But the movie itself, I found, again, like incredibly shot, just like beautiful, and just like really, really good performances.
They were 3 nominations for that movie, by the way. Joaquin Phoenix, Best Actor.
Cinematography.
And let me look.
No, I mean, it's a beautiful movie, man. Gorgeous. And Philip Seymour Hoffman.
No on cinematography.
Okay.
No, yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman for supporting actor.
Okay.
Joaquin for lead, and then Best Supporting Actress for Amy Adams.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I kind of wanted to go back and look at his movies, and so anyway, I've gone back now, Boogie Nights, and there's a lot of fun in that, and I really enjoyed it. It's got a great cast. It's a lot of fun. It's about the porn industry, and then the 70s kind of turning into the 80s, and then cocaine entering the life of all these people. And,
It's about the golden age of porn.
Yeah, before they were shooting it on film, and
when porno movies like Deep Throat were being shown in mainstream theaters.
Yeah,
and Marilyn Chambers' early movie Resurrection of Eve, I think it was called. These were movies that were being shown in mainstream theaters. Porn was sort of breaking through. It wasn't old stag films anymore that
didn't Pee Wee Reese see some
Pee Wee Herman.
Wasn't that a mainstream
Not Pee Wee
theater?
Reese. That was a baseball player. It was Paul Rubens, otherwise known as Pee Wee Herman.
Well, those were still. I mean, they were offbeat theaters, but they were still.
Oh, like the Pussycat Theater on Santa Monica Boulevard for years was
basically a porn theater.
A porn theater, yeah, it was a porn theater.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was right next to the.
Boy, how times have changed now.
Well, this was we're not.
You used to have to get in your car. Anymore. You used to have to drive down to the fucking porn place, cover yourself up so nobody could see you walking in,
or
go in disguise.
Quarter-fed booths. Yeah.
Now you just pick up your phone, and 30 seconds later,
you don't have to. And the Pussycat Theater was right next to a building. You might remember this from our early Hollywood days, called the Institute of Oral Love.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, yes. I'm not sure what that ever was. Always scared me a little bit to go.
That was
go check
my
that
we're
place
not in
out.
Kansas anymore Toto moment when I first moved to Hollywood and drove past the Institute of Oral Love, and it had a sign on it that said "Sexual Relief."
Sexual relief.
Sexual relief. It said the Institute of Oral Love, Sexual Relief.
Do you have any more knowledge about it, Jim? Did you go in?
No. I mean, well, that stands out when you see that.
No, I know. I remember it.
And there was this gaudy purple building right on the corner.
I know.
One-story purple building.
I remembered it, but I always kind of thought, well, I don't
drove right on by that one. I don't even want to figure. I don't even want to know.
I don't think that place. I don't think that place is for me. Anyway, yeah, I mean, Boogie,
and the movie has a great performance by Burt Reynolds. I think
Burt Reynolds is fabulous in it, and I think I mean he's very, very, very good in it, and the movie's just it's a lot of fun. And here's the thing: is like when I watch that movie, I'm like. I get invested with the characters. Macy kills himself because every time he turns the corner, his wife's fucking somebody.
His wife's screwing somebody else.
It's about 6 times in the movie where he's like, you hear something moaning in some room, and he walks in, and he says, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Get out of here! I'm about ready to come."
Can't you see what I'm doing here? Bang, get out of here. In a driveway with a bunch of guys standing around. Right, get out of here. Leave me alone. Give me a little privacy.
That scene that you're talking about, they're on him. When he's kind of walking around, whatever, Burt Reynolds' house or whatever, and he looks up and he sees like a group of men, like about
holding
10 of them, in a circle. And he's kind of like, well, like, what would and they're all looking down, Yeah. And the closer he gets, the more you can see, like, oh, somebody having sex, and these 10 men standing around watching it. The closer he gets, there, it's his wife. He's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Get out of here." Right? He's about ready to put it in the other. And so then he ends up killing himself, and he ends up and then shooting his wife and killing his wife. And
the 80s don't turn out too well for him.
Well, it's kind of like it's almost like the 70s were like something special.
Yeah.
And then the 80s turned into
it got real seedy
disco,
and
coke.
and,
very in that movie. But people
all with a video camera shooting people in limousines at the end of the movie. It got real seedy and ugly, and
Yes, but
at one point he actually had aspirations of making decent movies, but
yeah, we all do,
and then we sell out, yeah. And then complications ensue.
Well, I was going to say that people always talk to me about the 80s. Weren't people think of the 80s? Unlike this movie, as being a decade where everybody was having a lot of fun, and I certainly was.
I was.
I certainly was.
For me,
it must have been the economy must have been very strong in the 80s, right? Is that
it was strong, and I think that we there wasn't as much uncertainty about the business. The business wasn't facing existential crisis the way it seems to be now. There wasn't, it was always hard to get into. The movie business was always tough to get into,
Yeah.
but it did seem like there were, movies were being made.
Not if you were not if you were as cute as me, but my it was a difficult business to get involved in.
The odds weren't with you if you wanted to go to Hollywood and get in the movie business. The odds were definitely not with you. So
I'm so stunned about the Rock movie because I know that the Rock movie, and I was like 100th time forget the name of the movie.
The Smashing
Machine. Like, it's kind of an odd name, but I kind of based on a true story. This is going to be Rock's kind of comeback as an actor. I think we talked about it on our last podcast, and professional wrestling, and what's the one that Mickey Rourke did? Where The Wrestler. Yeah. It kind of seemed to me like it was going to be like The Wrestler, and I just thought it was going to go off the charts, and I was going to go see that after I saw One Battle After Another, which brings me to One Battle After Another. Okay, I hadn't seen a Paul Thomas Anderson movie in a long time, and I'd kind of forgotten, just because I'm not even sure if I knew it was a Paul Thomas movie when I walked in. I just went to it, and I might have known, but I didn't quite associate him with all of these movies that we've been talking about. And I went in, and it's got. We talked about this last time too. Is that Leonardo's out there for sure pushing it, and Benicio for sure is out there. I haven't seen Sean Penn doing any press, but Sean Penn never really does. But anything that Leonardo is in, I'm going to want to see, and Benicio del Toro, and I've been watching them promote this, and I'm thinking they seem to be promoting it so hard it must be like right. So I went to see it with Jennifer, and I was watching it, and I watched it for, and by the way, before I went, I saw that 98.99% of people that saw it, or reviewed it, Rotten Tomatoes, it was through the roof, everybody's talking about how
95 with the critics, 85 with the audience.
Okay, and so I went to see, and this is just me. It just shows you how off I am. But I watched it for about 30 minutes, and I was like, what in the fuck am I watching? I don't understand. It's kind of about revolutionaries, but I'm not sure revolutionaries of what. And Leonardo plays sort of a revolutionary. He's got a black girlfriend. She gets arrested, and then she has a baby, and I had to leave the theater and get my phone out and read a summary of what the movie was about.
Did you walk out on it at that point?
I didn't know. No.
No,
I don't.
Because it sort of shifts gears after about a half hour or 40 minutes, doesn't it?
It jumps
16 years or something.
It jumps I would say 20 years.
Okay.
So, I believe it would jump. Jim. What was the name of the white sort of revolutionaries back in the day? There was one Black Panthers.
SDS.
No.
Students for Democratic Society. The Weather Underground.
The Weather Underground. Kind of reminded me of the Weather Underground, but I couldn't. I kept looking at the cars, and I couldn't place Like what year are we in? It
Well,
wasn't.
the weather under. I mean, the movie seems a little anachronistic.
What does that mean? That word?
The time
Confusing.
Well, the time frame doesn't quite fit.
Yeah, right.
Like a Cowboys and Indians movie where they're riding around in tanks.
Yes,
no,
yes,
it doesn't,
yes,
because Leonardo wasn't even born yet when the Weather Underground existed, and when people were doing
Leonardo's character. Or
yeah, I mean Leonardo DiCaprio, the actor, wasn't even born yet. We're talking about 55 years ago. This sort of thing was happening.
Yes.
If he'd have been a young revolutionary 55 years ago, he'd be in his 90s in this movie, or close to that. So, or certainly in his 80s, if he'd been a young, revolutionary in the 70s when these groups were prominent and active. And apparently it starts with a raid on a ICE detention center, and they didn't exist 40 or 50 years ago to any considerable degree. So it does play around with certain elements in a kind of, like I said, anachronistic way. But that's Paul Thomas Anderson. So
well, okay, but we're talking about Boogie Nights. I wasn't confused. I wasn't confused by Boogie Nights. No. I wasn't confused by The Master. I don't think but I was confused at what I was watching for the exact reasons that you're talking about. It's like, oh, we're talking about revolutionaries here. And then they jump 20 years to like what I think would be like now. And I'm like, how could the baby that was just born like 20 years ago, that means all this civil disobedience was taking place in the late 90s or something.
No.
That's my head when it comes to movies. It's like, please spoon it to me, like
well,
spoon by
like
spoon. Don't just throw food at me, because
it's a little bit like Tarantino in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's just kind of throwing things in there, whether they fit or not, whether they fit the time frame or the facts or what. They'll just throw it in there. Our dramatic license, artistic license, I guess you would call it. But
yeah. So anyway, I got confused, so I walked out of the theater. Jennifer stayed in, and I looked it up on my phone because I wanted to know what the fuck this movie was about. And it's about the time that you said the movie shifts 20 years later, and I watched it, and I just am not part of the 99% that would give it a 95% score, just because Leonardo's character, I thought, was kind of he was a stoner, kind of needed to be a former revolutionary who now 20 years later, I found it confusing. Let's just put it that way. He has a daughter. And the daughter, he's kind of forced out of hiding from being a revolutionary.
It does seem like the movie should have been set 30 years ago.
I don't
back in the 90s when we were 20 years away from the old revolutionary days.
Yeah, I didn't. I was confused by it. Benicio del Toro is in it. When I think of Benicio del Toro and I think about some of the performances that he's given, I mean, he's just a brilliant actor. And, from my standpoint, when I, look at movies and, I see Joaquin Phoenix doing this thing, I'm like, oh my God, this guy's incredible in this. I mean, he was okay. He didn't have that much screen time, to be perfectly honest. And then another thing I wanted to know is, like, did we talk about this last week about how this movie opened and how many people are going to see it? And because I can't imagine having all these people in this movie, and it had to have cost 100 million. I mean, right?
It was 150.
$150 million.
Leonardo
And how
got
much
his-
money has it made so far?
So I think last week we said that it had made around 30 or 40 million.
Yes.
And now I'm just seeing on Wikipedia it's made 102 million.
Okay. In America or worldwide?
I believe it's
That would
in America.
that would largely be
Yeah.
North America box office.
Oh no, yeah, no, worldwide. 102 million.
Oh, is it worldwide?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So
okay.
that movie, Jim, you would know this better than me.
Oh, and it's just fun fact, it's Paul Thomas Anderson's highest grossing film of all time.
Highest grossing film, but he also spent 150 to make it.
Yeah.
So it's the highest budget he probably ever had on a movie too,
And
correct?
and they're putting in a pretty heavy ad buy for it too.
And
So I
so
think
who-
marketing costs will go another 30 or 40 million.
Who made that, Jim? Do you know?
I think it's Warner Brothers.
Okay, so does Warner Brothers sometimes make a movie and go like, well, we're probably not going to be like whatever, but we're going to get
They're
a
not
bunch of
real
Academy
fond of that.
Awards.
No.
What? What?
They're not real fond of doing that. Oh, we'll just
No.
make a movie like
Yeah,
for the awards and for the acclaim.
yeah. No, I wouldn't think they would
might-
be,
they
but
might-
I don't see this. It's not really an action movie. I don't. Leonardo's movies. When I think about The Wolf of Wall Street, and when I think about Pink, what diamond is it? Black Diamond. Blood Diamond. That
Yes.
performance. He also won the Academy Award. For the other one, those are like incredible performances, and
The Revenant.
Revenant, and this character is kind of, instead of like leading the charge, he's kind of forced into hiding
Kind of
and
reactive.
reactive. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Very, very reactive character. And
Did you see Killers of the Flower Moon, the movie he did
I had a
with
little.
Scorsese
That
and
was a
De Niro?
Scorsese movie too.
Yeah.
I watched
you
about
know,
an hour of it.
I
I'm
had-
like, nah, I'm gonna pick this up later. And I just never
Yeah, me
went back
too.
to
I
it.
got about 20 minutes into it, and it was Leonardo and De Niro, and Leonardo. It just looked so uncomfortable, and I know the storyline to the story, but I just didn't want to sit around and watch it for the next 2 hours.
Well, here's another thing about Paul Thomas Anderson movies is they're all like fucking three. I mean, he was making 2.5-hour movies back in the 90s, I think. Because I remember, the story I tell about me and Jim Cameron, the Abyss, and this is what the studio wants, and it's like a 2-hour movie, and this is what I want, which is a 2.5-hour movie or something along those lines. And he, probably because of pressure that he got from the studio, although I would have thought he would have had Final Cut on the Abyss, went with the shorter version. But it seems to me all of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies are like 2.5, 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I'll tell you what,
Magnolia is 188 minutes.
Okay.
So that's
3
that's
hours,
close to
easy,
3
yeah.
hours.
Yeah,
That's a 99.
and I will say this about his movies, and that is, they don't feel like 3-hour movies. They don't. Usually, if something's 3 hours, I mean, you really got to kind of know going in.
Yeah.
And I can watch his movies and be interested enough. I'm not saying that I'm I have to be invested in the characters, and I would say with this movie that's doing so well and it's being promoted, I'm the odd one out here. I'm like the guy who didn't like Star Wars. Okay, it's the same sort of thing here. It's, beautifully shot, but I just didn't. I don't see all of 95% on Rotten. I just so anyway, that was my experience, and now I've got to I wanted to go out and see the Rock movie, and you know, and then Jennifer said, well, I want to go see it with you. And I'm like, okay, well, let's go. And she's like, well, I've got to wait because I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm like, okay, we'll wait, you know. And then Dashiell had a friend over, and yeah, we'll take Dashiell. And like it got to it, and then it was like 4:00 in the afternoon. I'm like, fuck this, I'm gonna watch football.
Got some games on
Watch the
here,
football.
you know?
Oh, by the way, I lost to Doug Stanhope this weekend, so I'm back down to him owing me $700. So
I wonder too if like the subject matter of the Smashing Machine isn't helping, because I know it's about the story. It's a wrestler or a fighter, but I don't know who this guy is, and I don't know if this guy like Mark Kerr was a big name, but it just I don't, you know, I watched current UFC. I was into like wrestling. I don't know, is he a wrestler? Is he an MMA? I wonder if maybe the subject matter just didn't help in terms of people wanting to go see it that badly.
Well, they went to see The Wrestler, I mean, years ago, and I would think that, you know, especially for men, you know, I would just think a story about, and one that, from what I understood, you can see where it premiered. It premiered at a film festival, and boy, those French people like giving like long-standing ovations, don't they? Any movie that comes on is always getting like a 10, 12, 15-minute standing ovation.
Yeah.
Premiered at the Venice International Film Festival.
Venice International Film Festival, and it came out with a...
Yeah, The Rock received a 15-minute standing ovation.
15-minute standing ovation. It had half as many, like... minutes of standing ovation than it did box office for the weekend. 30, what did you say, 25? No, how much did it make this weekend?
6.
6. It was opening in 3,500 movies, and it made $6 million?
That's why I was saying that per screen average must be dreadful for that.
Oh, that's mind-blowing to me. That Navy SEALs made 6 times as much movie in this opening weekend. Oh, man. Oh, and it's got The Rock in it. I would just like, all right, well,
it says, just Variety says, it's a career worst debut for The Rock. So I think it's his worst
Really?
opening movie of all.
It's also Day 24.
Well, the director Benny Safdie, you know, had a pretty good hit with Uncut Gems, that Adam Sandler movie.
Great movie.
Really good movie. So
movie.
I can see how there would have been
high
anticipation. Yeah,
If you like Uncut Gems too, I just want to throw this out there because I love Robert Pattinson. The movie he did before that called Good Time with Robert Pattinson is that good? It's very similar in its feel, and Robert Pattinson's great in it. So if you like Uncut Gems, you should go watch it.
Oh, wow. And it's similar to Uncut Gems in that respect?
Yeah, a guy who's just fucking up, and life's coming down on him, and he's running around trying to get out of the shit that he created.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, I was going to say, hey, Jim, that's your life story. What is
Kindred souls. I think we found each other, yeah.
Yeah, so I am still going to go see it. I want to see it. I've got a movie theater that is... Oh, and by the way, when I went to see Leonardo's movie, I did... You know, it was, first of all, I went to a movie theater that's got, 10 screens or something like that. So it was playing in two theaters. So maybe whatever. But I went, again, Benicio del Toro, like, there, I walked into the place, and I thought it was empty, and the movie was already going on, and it was like 5 minutes after the usually you show up at a movie and you get like, okay, I'm gonna watch the movie, and no, I'm not. I'm gonna watch an ad for Coca-Cola, and then I'm gonna watch an ad
20
for
minutes
Fabergé,
yeah.
and then I'm gonna see upcoming attractions. And I enjoy watching the upcoming attractions and seeing
I do too.
What's going on. But you know the movie's not going to start until 20 minutes after you get in there. So I get it. Jen and I walk in and the movie's on. And I didn't see anybody else in the theater. So I walked out and I asked for the manager and I said, like, the movie's like playing and it's just like 5 minutes. What happened to all the upcoming attractions and you know, like, this isn't right. And he's just like turned around and said, oh, don't worry about it. I'll fix that. And so we walked back into the theater. When I walked back into the theater, I did notice there were about 3 or 4 people or 5 people maybe in the theater watching the movie. And he just stopped it, started it over again. And I was saying to Jennifer, what's going on? This is crazy. The fucking movie. What's going on with the projector? Like loud enough so the people around me would have no idea that like I was the reason why the movie they had to watch the movie.
Hey, when you start this thing over for me, I missed the 20 minutes of coming attractions.
You know, as he was walking away, I said, "Hey, can you start it without all the coming?" He said, yes, I will." So anyway,
you got to see it from the opening credits. And,
you never know, but I know that was A24's big thing that everybody was. I think it's the most expensive movie that they've ever made, and you know, that will.
I think they'll be all right.
No, I think they'll be okay too. It's not that I think they'll be okay, but we've talked in the past about being the growing pains of being a very small company, and you know, releasing 3 or 4 movies a year at $5 or $6 million movies and Academy Awards and this and that. And now they're releasing 40 movies a year. You know, there has to be sort of a, I would think not a learning curve, but sort of you know, it's just a different animal now. Like I said, when you get on the airplane and you can just press up. I've never been on an airplane and have like, oh, Paramount movies. Oh, 20, you know, like, oh, Warner Brother movies. I'll just press that. No, A24's got their own channel on the airplanes.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So, Jim, is there anything that is pressing in your life? Is there anything that's going on? Anything that you've seen or watched recently that you might want to mention?
Well, I was just actually looking at some information on Smashing Machine, and it says they shot it on 16 millimeter film.
What?
Yes. I haven't seen that in ages. I think Lucas might have shot. I'm not sure if he shot American Graffiti on 16 millimeter or not.
That's a good looking movie, man.
It is a good look.
I never understand the difference between 16 mil and like that. None of that ever means anything to me. What was the stuff that my dad used to shoot back in the day? When
probably 8 millimeter, little Bell and Howell, little 8 millimeter, and 16 was like, you know, what cameramen in war would carry around with them, like Army cameramen would carry these 16 millimeter. It's a real small, you know, frame.
Is the movie? It must be a period piece to a certain extent.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you would use a film to kind of give it that feeling, Jim. Is that what other reason would you have?
Well, it says that the film was shot predominantly on 16 millimeter film, with some scenes using 70 millimeter film as well as VHS cameras. So it looks like it was probably shooting some of the earlier stuff, period stuff, on 16 millimeter.
I see. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. That makes
Some
sense.
TV series used to shoot on 16 millimeter as well. I know back in the 80s, we would sometimes occasionally get stock footage from Tour of Duty for the HBO thing I was working on, and maybe something that they had shot but never used, and we could buy their 16 millimeter of a helicopter taking off and use it for our show because they never used it in theirs, and we could just buy some footage from them and integrate it well into what we were doing.
Oh, I just before I kind of got to go, Jim, but I wanted to find one thing on my phone here that is see if I can do this properly. So we were, it's just me and you talking now, and we seem to do fine when it's just us talking, the three of us. But we do have just gotten, Doug Stanhope basically is just confirmed for December. I have a feeling Jim Cameron is either going to be late November or December, because this movie comes out around December 10th or something.
Somewhere around there. I think the 13th.
Yeah, first week or whatever of December. Cameron, when he says he's going to do something, he's going to do something. And then I think, what are they, in that note about Onslaught that I read, where they said I was particularly something amazing. Not amazing. It wasn't amazing. It was a different word. Jim, you remember?
Spectacular, was it? Or
I don't know. Let's keep guessing.
It was hyperbolic. It was hyperbolic for sure.
There's that word again.
I did just want to say about Onslaught that the bad guy in the movie, the UFC fighter, Alex Pereira,
he just won his title back.
He just won his title back in spectacular fashion.
Really?
First round, within 25 seconds, just kicked the living shit out of his opponent.
Is that the guy who beat him to get the title?
Yeah. And the guy that when he beat him for the title, apparently Pereira had a bad hand injury at the time and had something called a rotavirus, so he was like sick.
Oh, yeah.
But he's known for just taking on any fight, anytime, whenever. He'll be on vacation and Dana White will call him and be like, hey, can you fight this guy? And he'll be like, yep, I'm there. So he's kind of known for just fighting whenever.
Showing up. Yeah.
He wasn't 100% apparently that first time, but this time he just steamrolled the guy.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, he must have trained for it.
Where do you see that? Do you have to pay extra, like on your
Yeah, you're supposed to. UFC just signed a deal with Paramount Plus. I don't think it's kicked in yet, but yeah, normally you have to pay the pay-per-view, which is around $80.
Yes.
And you also have to pay for ESPN Plus, which is another like $12 a month. So I just, I had to just stop watching fights.
You have to get ESPN Plus to get
the fights, yeah.
Pay-per-view for UFC.
But you don't need more because they just signed like a $7 billion deal with Paramount.
Yeah,
Plus,
I know they just signed a big deal with Paramount right after the merger was approved.
But for some reason, I was able to just find the fight on YouTube that night. I just went
on
to
YouTube.
Wow.
Because I saw that he won and I went, oh, I want to watch this. And it was just on YouTube. And I was like, all right, I'll just watch it on YouTube.
So I probably once it's over, then it's immediately on YouTube.
Yeah, but normally the UFC is really good about taking down that sort of stuff. But
I would
even the
imagine,
video I was watching had a UFC like watermark in the corner. I was like, did
Really?
they even post this one? I don't know. But normally they're very good about taking stuff down. I was surprised I was able to just find it on YouTube that night.
Wow. Wow. Yeah,
okay,
Jim, we've kind of come to that time, and I need to go. I'll come back on Thursday, and we'll. What are you laughing at? We'll talk to you later, Jim. All right?
You got it. You got it.